welcome to I'd Back That Kickstarter with Gloryhoundd.
DrGloryhogg.
And
Greg Dickson.
thank you everybody for joining us. We have Alan in the chat. We have Vincent, Leo Lewis, the charity board gamer. Who else did I see up here? Did I see anybody else?
Did you mention Alan?
Serial Heroes.
Michael.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. So we went ahead and got some commentary and stuff when I went to Gen Con. So we're going to be arranging the format just a little bit differently. So hopefully we can have less people talking over everybody. I'm super excited about that. And I guess we'll catch you guys up really quick. Audio sounds great today. Oh, my gosh, guys. So we replaced so much stuff because of everything happening. We had to replace the router. We replaced Greg's cable for him. And what else?
Nothing for me. I'm perfect.
We replaced his personality.
Well, there you go.
Had a whole overhaul over the last 2 weeks.
Hello, Chad. So, yeah, the format's going to be a little bit different with how we're going through anything. So, quick updates. Greg, you have anything new to talk about?
Not really.
Not really?
Glad to be here. Check out Hooked on Geek. I don't know.
DrGloryhogg?
We played a ton of Gen Con games that I want to go
Yeah.
over, but most excitedly, literally got this on my front doorstep as I was picking my kid up from school. Skull Hollow. So I'm going to be learning this bad boy tonight.
I know. I'm really excited to play that. Hello, we have Letiman Games joining us. Thank you so much for joining us today because it's so awesome whenever we can have you guys in the comments in case anybody has any questions. That's going to be fantastic. Okay. So I guess let's get started.
Production quality here?
Oh, you want to show off the production
Yeah.
quality really quick?
All right, guys. Sorry.
Skull Hollow.
Look at that. Look at that green insert.
Yeah.
It's all rubbly looking. Each little character has its own deck box. I'm super pumped about this. The production quality on this from Pencil First is like really good.
These giant cutout boards.
Yeah.
I'm pumped. I will let you know how it plays after tonight, but I am super excited about learning this game.
We expect
So
a full report next week.
it was just, it was on my doorstep, so it was hard to not talk about it right now.
It was one of those things DrGloryhogg ran in and he's like, quickly! And he like opened it all up and was like,
yeah.
oh my god, this is amazing.
Oh, thanks, Luke L.
All right, so let's go to On the Rocks. I'm going to start this up.
I feel like we all should have like a little glass in front of us.
Oh, that would have been really nice. Dang
You
it.
know?
Why didn't you tell us this ahead of time,
we
Greg?
we literally have cups in front of us.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like a...
We could lie and say that. I mean, this is how I drink my alcohol at work.
So first up, we have On the Rocks. This is by PenTree Games. This is for 2 to 4 players. It's going to last about 45 to 90 minutes. This is very interesting as it's kind of like you're pulling marbles out of a bag and then you're placing them in this mixing area. So then you choose one of those bowls and those are the marbles that you're going to take to fulfill drinks in this game. And I kind of thought that was a pretty interesting aspect of the game. Greg, what did you think about this?
So I actually got a chance to play this one, and we talked about it on the podcast. And they talk about like their goal behind this was to make a gateway game that wasn't like a nerdy, geeky theme. Like, what's the point of a gateway game if it's like fantasy monsters and stuff? The idea is to bring people who aren't into the stuff that we're into the hobby. So this is like such a cool universal theme. It's a night out with friends, you know, and it simulates that. You're making drinks for each other, you're spilling drinks, you know, you're hanging out at the bar. And so I think the production quality is off the charts. The rule set's really simple. There's a lot of fun. There's a little bit of take that, which is nice, but it's not like over the top. So I think they totally accomplished what they set out to do, which was to make a gateway game for everybody, gamers and non-gamers alike. So, I mean, there's not really anything not to like about this.
DrGloryhogg, what did you think about it?
I really like the fact that so it's a blind grab from a bag, and then you're dropping marbles off into the 4 bowls, kind of going in order. So you're trying to not only build the bowl that you want to take, but also try to make sure you're not giving too many good things to the people to the left and right of you, because you don't want them to be like, oh, you just made this bowl for me. And then when you do successfully get a drink, you get to get your tips, and you can either keep that for points at the end, or you can use it for a one-time either bonus or a negative on another player. So I thought that was really cool. I think that's where all the gameplay comes in, is building, getting the random marbles out and then building the different bowls and then deciding when you're going to be using those strategic cards.
And to your point, because you get points if you don't use those cards as take that, it sort of incentivizes you almost to not screw each other up over too much.
Right.
Which is good in a gateway
Right.
game, because you don't want a gateway game where it's like, you're just slamming each other down all the time. You want it to be fun and an occasional, like, oh, I may just, I gave you this little minus, but not like slapping them down left and right.
Well, the theme is really cool too, because you're like, you can tell somebody like, oh, you're pouring weak drinks, or oh, I mean,
Yeah.
so like the terminology in it's really good. I like that.
Yeah, I think that you do need to balance that. Take that in a gateway game because you don't want it to become not fun, but you want them to be excited about playing it. And with this particular one here, I really enjoyed the pulling the marbles from the bag and then placing them in the bowls as you go around and stuff, and it really makes your decisions during that mixing period really, really important. And I love, 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 love that portion of it. Like, I'm so excited about that portion of it. This, for me, is one of the ones I think actually I was most excited about in this. So, and Dr. Gloryhogg, did you want to touch on some of our comments that we have going on?
Well, some people are talking about how they think it's really cool to have like a game that they can play with like a lot of different people, right? Because like I could take this to work. You could play it with the kid because it's not like, I think it's important to like not to hide alcohol from your kids. Let them know what it is, so it's not some mystery thing. You could play it like, I know your mom would be a big fan of this because your mom likes a lot of different mixed drinks. It's one of her favorite things to do when we go to California is to stop at all the different
Sample.
bars and get their specialty mixed drinks and everything like that. So I think that's really great. One thing that was mentioned in the comments though was about the picture and audio, and I just want to say really quickly to the people that back us on Ko-Fi, we really appreciate it because we were able to get some lighting upgrades quite recently thanks to the donations.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that was the other thing that we got. So we had to get the router, we had to get the cord, and then we got lighting and stuff. We've done all sorts of stuff since last time we saw you guys. Like, geez. But we had a charity board gamer say, I can play and still be sober after playing.
Maybe.
Like,
You could add in the thing where once you complete a drink, you drink,
Yeah.
or whenever you complete a drink, you make somebody else drink, which has like that. We did that with Red Dragon Inn, where you would like knock somebody out, you'd make them drink or something, and they would start to actually get drunk. So you could add that in.
Yeah, you
And
can
just
make it a
saying.
drinking game.
Alan is also excited about for On the Rocks for our gaming group. Fits right in. I think that's probably pretty true because I think Alan games with, he's like showing more gateway gamers and stuff, different games and
Yeah.
stuff. So absolutely.
And I want to point out, too, you mentioned 45 to 90 minutes. It's on the shorter side of that end, in
Is
my
it?
experience. And I haven't times or anything, but more often than not, it's going to be 45 minutes.
Also,
You played it 2-player mostly.
Yeah, but I think even if you maxed it out, because it only goes to, 4, I think, it's not going to be a 90-minute game very often.
Also-
It's pretty quick, pretty fast.
Also, huge props to PenTree Games on this because they did like everything I wanted to see
Yeah.
on this Kickstarter.
It's a good campaign.
Exactly. They had a beautiful opening video that was exciting to watch. They have clear instructions on how to play this game where I don't have to go and watch somebody's 30 to 40 minute video on
Yeah.
this. Like, I can just run down and go, oh, this is exactly how you play. Oh, I mean, I understood everything about every aspect of this game, and I was excited to play it. And I think, did they even have it on Tabletopia?
I don't recall.
Did they?
They do have a virtual version of it.
They have a virtual version that you can try to play as well.
And this is like a real family, like this is this is what Kickstarter's for, right? The new designers, mom and pop, kind of like, we're trying this, we're dipping our toes into the hobby. We don't have any big support behind us. We're not a big company. And if you scroll down at the bottom, it talks about all the people involved, and one of them is their son. And it says like future CEO of PenTree Game. Like, it's very charming.
Yeah, one of his bullet points was good son. I was
yes,
like,
yes,
nice.
good son, future CEO of PenTree Games. Like, it's adorable, and I like to see Kickstarter used this way because I think we all get kind of jaded when it's like, oh look, the giant companies using Kickstarter again for their pre-order program. No, this is why Kickstarter was invented.
I really like Leo Lewis's question here, which is, would this replace Potion Explosion? And because he's seeing Potion Explosion, and I 100% agree with that. That was the first thing Dr. Gloryhogg and I turned to each other and said was like, would we even play that game after this? I don't know. How do you feel about that, Greg?
I think that this is like faster to get going. Like with Potion Explosion, you got to build a little contraption and set it all up and all that. This one's like really fast to just get it out and get it to the table. And I think the production quality, I almost like it better than Potion Explosion, honestly.
Did you?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Gizmo's the same thing. You got to build the little contraption every time. This one, it's all just you open it up and you just get started right away. You know.
DrGloryhogg, Gizmos or On the Rocks?
Well,
I know
so,
Gizmos is a super big one for you.
So for me, Gizmos, because I
Yeah.
love the engine building of that. But between Potion Explosion On the Rocks, I'd probably play On the Rocks.
But
Okay.
Gizmos is not a gateway game. I mean,
So
these
in the middle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's apples and oranges.
Right.
You know? You're not going to teach Gizmos to non-gamers, and I don't think you teach Gizmos to non-gamers.
Right. Gizmos is an engine builder, where this is not like an engine builder.
Right. Well,
This one I like
This is
better.
much more straightforward.
Well,
yeah.
I like the dropping the marble in the different bowls
Yep.
more than I like just taking one out of the middle and trying to get explosions. It's more interactive.
Well, and dropping the marbles is where the depth of play comes in.
Mhm.
So you can play it very simple, like whatever, I'll just throw a bunch of marbles in. But gamers are going to be really trying to game that system to be like, oh, they need this color, so I'm going to put the bad black marbles in that one, so that when they take that later, it's going to hurt them. So you can add depth to it, but you can also play it on a very surface level as like a non-gamer. So that's
Okay.
what this has going for it, I think.
so Greg, final thoughts?
If you're looking for a gateway game, this is a great bet. I mean, I would
Yeah.
pick it up.
Would
yeah.
you back that?
Well, I'm in the rare experience of already having access to it, but yeah, I think I might. I mean, I have a ton of gateway games, so I'm not really the target audience for this, but most people don't have 900 games or whatever it is.
Right.
Let's not put numbers on it at home. And so if you need a gateway game, I think this is a great bet.
DrGloryhogg?
Well, I'm in a
Final
really
thoughts?
unique position because not everybody has 1,000, 1,200 games.
No,
let's not put numbers on this.
let's not exaggerate the number. I already did inflate it.
No,
Not everyone has 40,000 games at home. Sorry, go ahead.
I have like Potion Explosion like on my phone, and I've got the retail copy of it and everything, and so I played it a few times. I feel like I would play this one more because I could definitely see people at work wanting to play it. I could see your mom really enjoying it. I could see this being just an easier theme to jump into, and I really like the marble aspect of it more than just picking one out of the middle.
And
So
even-
I would back it.
And even going back to our last point, even Gizmos is kind of a nerdy theme of like you're building machines and like this is more approachable. I agree that like Gizmos is better for me as a gamer, but as for like a gateway experience, this theme and the mechanics are way better.
Yeah.
A better choice for that audience, which I think is what they're going for here.
And Alan's saying he got a random promo for Gizmos, but doesn't have Gizmos. Alan, you need to get Gizmos. It's fantastic. And Michael, thank you so much for joining us here. So, for me, this was a win. Like I said, this was the one I was most excited about. It's the most game-ish, I think, of all the other ones. The other ones have like more story to them, more campaign
yeah.
aspects. This is more like just get it to the table and play it and everything. And I don't know. I this is gonna sound like the worst. I love drinking, so
In fact, she had 10 or 12 before we turned on the camera.
I really, really enjoyed the theme of this game and how you're like mixing up all the drinks and then you're kind of trying to put everything together and stuff. Like, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I will be backing this game, 100% in on this. And what else do we have? What
Can
do
we
have
point out
next?
real quick, too,
Yes.
that this is the only one of the ones we're covering that hasn't funded yet?
Yes.
And I think it's just hard as a new company to like get your name out there and get press and all that. So like take a second look at this one. Even if you don't think, oh, I need a gateway game, think of other people you might know who this might be perfect for.
Absolutely.
And send the link to them or whatever, because this is a good game. We can all attest to that. And it's a shame that it's not funded yet. And I think it needs to be funded. I mean, it deserves to make it out.
yeah.
Because it's such a good game. They put so much thought into it. Even the dice. They could have just had regular dice, but they had ice dice. You know what I mean? Like the little touches I really appreciate. So
The exclusive cards that it comes with too, like that are like based off of chai or based off of different games, I thought was really cool. Like when you scroll down, like they have some cards or drinks, I'm sorry, that are specifically based off of other games. So I thought that was really cool.
Well, and thank you so much for bringing that up, guys. Yeah, this is not funded yet, and it should. I was like, why isn't this funded? Because they
It's
did
just 'cause-
everything right in the campaign. Like, I don't know if it was timing
it's
or
Gen Con.
what it was. Yeah.
Kickstarter's crowded. It's hard
Yeah.
to get out and get the message out. Like, hey, there's this great game here. You know?
Absolutely, because I 100% was like, what the heck? Why hasn't this
And I
been
want to
done
see
yet?
what
Yeah.
these people, what they're going to do next.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hangover, the game.
It's just you're making black coffee.
Yeah. And Bloody Marys.
Oh
for
my
little hair of the
gosh.
dog.
Little hair of the
Oh my gosh, you have like
That's the
shenanigan
next.
cards.
That's going to be the name of it. Hair of the
Yeah.
dog.
shenanigans cards where like just random stuff happens. You're like, you impede people's path. That's
You got
awesome.
the I can't find my other shoe card.
Aw, my mom's in the chat, guys. Hi,
Aw.
Mom.
Everyone be
Hi,
nice.
Mom. All right, moving on. Up next, we have Adventure Tactics. This is by Letiman Games. This is for 1 to 5 players. It's going to last about 45 to 90 minutes. This is a campaign style game where you're going to be creating characters and you're going to be leveling those characters up. And I think the most unique portion of this game is the fact that you're not just a bard or you're not just like a warrior or anything like that. When you level up your characters, you can create unique characters like ninjas, and I'm trying to remember what other
Like
characters.
engineers, there
Yeah.
was like time mage, there was gosh, there were so many really good ones. There was like, like a sword, like a magical sword, like a dark sword person that was like a wizard / fighter. All the really cool characters that you would have made in like say Skyrim or Morrowind, where you're like, I'm gonna do touch spells and use a sword and a shield. Like those were the really cool characters that you can play in those types of RPGs, and you can do that in this game.
Yeah, and which a lot of games like this don't have that sort of depth to it. Usually they just go in, okay, these are the 5 different types of characters you can play. These are the 5 different decks you're going to have. Whereas this one, you are creating your character as you go along. So, Greg, what did you think of this game?
I'm glad you touched on that because that was one of the things that I liked. I don't do RPGs anymore. It's just it's hard to find the time to find the regular group.
Absolutely.
This feels like it would scratch that itch of like you can kind of build a character and see it level up and go through it, but not. Oh yeah, little to the right, little to the right. Oh yeah. Wait a minute. Pause. Station break. So I like that aspect of it because I think it is like your life gets busy as you get older and stuff, and it's hard to find time to do RPGs. And so I like that this looks like it's going to be that kind of game, but like much faster to get to the table and play and sort of, like I said, scratch the RPG itch. I want to try it before I buy it because I think there's just so many of these campaign games. There's so many of these kinds of style of games, and it's easy to just start and then never finish. So I'd kind of want to try it and see how it feels and see if it feels like the sort of thing that like I would go enough plays in to sort of make it worth the price point. But I would not discourage anyone from what I've seen of this campaign from backing this.
And Nicholas says 26 classes overall. I was thinking that. I was like, dang it, I should have wrote that down. That's a ton of different characters to sort of choose for and to trick yourself out into being, let's see here. We had Vincent that said Dirty Martini expansion for the last one. I totally agree with that. But Anna Marie, love the comparison to something like Skyrim. DrGloryhogg, what do you think about this game?
Well, I think this game lets you do all the things that you really like in in a Dungeons and Dragons type of game where you're doing the battles, right? And it's got a lot of good battles, but it's not dice rolling, so you're not going to get like any critical fails. You're doing usually straight up damage. You are rolling dice as far as like kind of like how the damage works out, but you're not going to like miss and stuff. It didn't seem like there was a lot of like, oh, I missed this guy completely. It's going to be like how big the area is or how much damage you do to it. My favorite thing in those types of games like D&D and Skyrim, we're picking those really weird classes where you find unique ways to interact with the world, where you've got like, oh, I'm like a monk fighter and I use chain weapons and all I do is trip people. That's all I do is I just trip people so that I get like that +4 because they're prone and like so
The
you help
tripper.
like right and you end up being like this really crazy like chain fighter and you end up being like the most valuable player in the overall campaign because you just knock everybody down and then the DM's got like just scramble to figure out how to stop you because you're being out of control. I'm saying this from experience. I was the DM in this situation.
An out of control campaign.
Or doing like that cool like arcane archer where you're like, okay, so I'm an archer, but I'm using like spells to infuse my arrows to do all these really cool effects and stuff. And this lets you do that on multiple levels with multiple different characters while also still having the co-op aspect and having to decide together where everybody's path is kind of going because they can't cross over. You can only use X amount of like this level of this character in this character and you can't in this character then and kind of deciding like how we want to go. Like I see you becoming like a time mage. I can see me going, a couple different routes. It just seems so exciting. It's all the best fighting parts of D&D, but like in a board game without a dungeon master, so not having to rope like a 4th or 5th person into it, and you just get to play it.
Yeah.
And like the miniatures look cool, the combat looks cool. It gives me like that kind of Arcadia Quest feeling, but co-op-y instead of like take that guildy. And I think I'm super excited about this one.
I really liked the comment where it's like, a legacy style game without legacy, you know,
Yeah,
and that's those
a
campaign
campaign.
style games. Yeah, which I'm a huge fan of campaign style games. It's harder to get those ones to the table because you want to sit down, you want to enjoy the whole thing, and it's usually a little bit more of a setup. But what Dr. Gloryhogg and I do is we go ahead and just say, all right, Sunday is the day we are doing campaign games. We're going to leave the game out on the table all day, and we're going to play through the entire game or through the entire campaign or
As
take
much
a
of it
couple
we can,
weekends.
yeah.
Absolutely. But that's because I love that portion. I love the story aspect. But there's no other game that I can think of that you get to level up your characters like this and build them out. And that's so exciting because I'm an RPG fan with that.
And that's the one big thing about Arcadia Quest that I like, because you play 3 different characters, but you don't get to modify those characters. You can just upgrade them.
Right.
And so, yeah, you miss out on that really cool aspect of making like a crazy character and getting to play through, or feeling that real sense of progression as you go through all these different character levels, and you start off like a weakling little wizard, and then you become some kind of like, I alter the the sands of time. I can control this and do that, and I can call down weather and do all these really cool like superhero powered spells.
Oh, nice. Serial Hero says they just added a book of one-shot scenarios too, so it won't be
Oh, that's
it won't
smart.
all be campaign. I love that idea. Absolutely, because sometimes you get those players that just want to come in there and sample, and there's nothing worse than having a game like this and playing the first scenario 200 times to teach all these people the first scenario, and you're like, oh my god, just let the first scenario end already.
We did though kill the one skeleton campaign 25 times.
Well, for example, like A Touch of Evil is kind of a campaignish game where you can kind of keep going and stuff. I played that first scenario probably 15 times, and I've never gotten to play any other scenario. And I even bought expansions for the game to play other stuff. And
so
I've just,
optimistic.
Just play that one over, because every time I get a group together, it's a different group. We got to start at the very beginning.
This is cool too. They mentioned that. Sorry to interrupt. They mentioned that there's going to be guest designers jumping in to design some of those one shots as well.
That's really exciting.
That's really cool. I like that.
I love it when they do
I would
that.
love to see who some of the guest designers are going to be. Like, if you can release any names,
Yeah, now's the time.
Yeah, the art in this is super cute.
I don't hear anything.
The art in this is super cute. I mean, I didn't have any really bad things to say about any of it, except for the fact that it is a big box sort of campaign style game. But it looks like they've taken care of a lot of that with doing a lot of one-shot scenarios and stuff with it. So, Greg, final thoughts on this game?
So this is a week where I like all 4 games, and so it's like choosing between your children, which some days are easier than others. But so I think this is a try before you buy for me. But like I said, I would certainly not dissuade anyone from trying this or from backing this, I should say, because it does feel like they've sort of checked all the boxes. Aesthetically pleasing. They've got the campaign for those who want it, the one shots for those who want it. Fast to get to the table, but still the depth of play of leveling up and creating characters and all the different classes you get to play with. So I would encourage people to check it out. But I think for me, I want to just try it because I've started too many campaigns that I haven't finished. So I'd like to see, play it and see, is this one that I'm really going to get to the table a lot or
Then
not?
you're going to create a character and get hooked, and you're
That's
going to be
right.
like, dang it.
That's how they get you.
Dr. Gloryhogg, final
think,
thoughts? Would you back this?
Yeah, no, I want to back this one. And the main reason why is recently I've been kind of staying away from legacy games because we've gotten a lot of them. I feel like the accessibility of how easy it will be to jump into this one and just play it and save it, and we can have my 9-year-old play it and stuff. I really feel like this is one that we'll do like we did with Arcadia Quest, where we'll play it on a Saturday and a Sunday and end up kind of going through a kind of conclusion of it. And I feel like this is one sense is a lot of it's going to be based off your character and then the actual fighting you're doing on the board, that you can replay this one multiple times with multiple people and not feel like, oh, I missed out on something. You can just try different strategies, go a different character route the next time you play it. So yeah, this is probably my top pick out of all of them. If I had to only pick one, this would be the one I would pick.
And Vincent actually brings up a good point, because a couple weeks ago we had a bunch of campaign style games where they had a bunch of half-naked people in them. So, this one would be a good one. There's no half-naked minis in this. It's going to be a great family game to bring to the table.
Can I still play it half naked?
You can play it half-naked if you would like. That's your own decision in your own house. But, or I guess wherever really you want. It doesn't have to be in your own house.
No, not wherever you want, by the way. Not wherever you want. Only be half naked in your own house. Please, people.
And Letiman Games is actually in the comments right now telling us about the guests who are going to be writing on those, which is also awesome. Yeah, no half-naked minis, no blatant gore, no swearing in the guide. Kid-friendly. I love that so much. That is why we play Arcadia Quest so often with our kid or bringing even new gamers into that game because
Yeah.
it's fun, it's cute, and you set it up and you get people to try out this new game, this new style of game like that. So yeah, I'm all in on this, 100%. Dang it.
You love tactic games, too.
I do. It's going to be an expensive week, guys. It's going to It's going to
People
be
were
an
hoping to
expensive
come here
week.
to narrow it down, and they're just being told, back everything.
It's so tough. I have the feeling there's going to be 3 in the end that we're like, all right.
That's why they listen to you, which is try before I buy.
Yes,
try before
try
I buy.
before
Try
I
Well,
before
buy.
I buy.
I like I said, it's hard. It's hard some weeks, but I always try to pick one that I'm like most excited about.
Next up, we have Rune Stones by Queen Games. This is for 2 to 4 players. It lasts 60 to 90 minutes. This has a price point of $45. Let's
You know
see
I'm
here.
happy.
I know. I was gonna say this is right up Greg's alley. It's
Affordable.
Queen Games.
This is your pick. This is it, isn't it?
Why is it my pick, Derek? You know me
Pri-
too well.
Price and the Euro-iness of it, and it's a deck builder.
Yes, and pedigree. We've talked about that before.
That's right.
You do love yourself some designers.
It's Rudiger Dorn. This guy's had at least 3 games I can think of that have been nominated for either SDJ or the Kennerspiel.
Hold on. Leo Lewis just said he canceled Trudvang so he can afford to buy everything now, which is
Nice.
so true. It's so true. Oh my goodness. Okay, sorry, Greg. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So, Istanbul, Karuba, Luxor, these are all games, and those are just the ones that are nominated for the big awards.
I feel like you have all those games too, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes, I do, and I play them. Jambo, Montana. I mean, he's got like 9 pages on BGG of games and expansions to games that he's designed. And like I said, a bunch that have either won or been nominated for awards as well. So I love the pedigree because, you know, everyone's money is precious. You only have, it's a finite resource, right? We're playing a Euro game here, and there's only so many of those money cubes. And here's one where it's like, you know, you're in like trusted hands.
It's weird though. Like my money feels precious, but yours not so much.
Yes. I feel the same way about your money. What a strange coincidence.
Weird.
So what are your thoughts then on the game?
I love it. It's deck
Just love it?
building.
Okay.
It's got the
So got all the-
pedigree. Queen Games. I probably own 15 Queen Games. They're great for games that have more depth than you expect, but simple rule sets oftentimes. You know, Alhambra and Glux, and you know, there's a bunch. Escape. They're this underrated company. Now, I will say, because money is precious, with Queen Games, they're often available not long later for cheaper on places like Amazon and stuff. So, and Queen Games is an established company, and some people hate, like, oh, they're on Kickstarter, and they're not really the kind of company that needs it. That's your judgment call as a consumer. But if you're a fan of them and you've backed things from them before and you've enjoyed it, here's a chance for you to kind of continue to support them so they can continue to make games. But it is one of those kinds of games where you know it's going to be on Amazon for $15-20 less 6 months or a year, you know.
So, Dr. Gloryhogg,
Later.
I know you are a huge fan of deck building games as well. How do you feel about this game?
So, I really love the art in this one, and it looks really interesting. This is one, though, that I feel like I would actually have to play to see how much I actually enjoy it, because I have gotten in like 5 deck builders in the last 6 months or something like that, I think.
Yeah, Terrors
With
of London and
Terrors,
Tyrants.
of Underdark. I mean, I got Shards expansion that I haven't played yet. Like, I've got a decent amount
Yeah.
of deck builders in. And then to some aspects, you know, like Dice Throne Adventures is kind of like a deck builder in a certain way, Dungeon Delvey thing, which I've been playing that. So there's a lot of deck building games I have in my arsenal, and it is one of my favorite mechanics. I'm super excited about Clank Legacy. But that's
Yeah, that's a whole
that's a side
side note.
So I would have to really be sold on what makes this one different. I think the idea that when you play 2 cards together, like the highest value card goes away, really makes you kind of think those choices and like what you want to buy and when you want to use them for their abilities, because some of them will go away after you use them for their abilities. I think that's going to be really interesting. And then the whole race for the Rune Stones in the middle, super interesting, but I want to see how it actually plays in actuality. And the one thing about Queen Games that I know is that they don't really do like they rely on content creators only to kind of show you how to play the game and do the things.
Yeah.
So like I was
Well,
watching
the campaign is
Grotto and stuff,
Yeah.
but I kind of missed that kind of like, you know, that excitement trailer, because I mean, I am I like themes, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I like that kind of trailer in the beginning. That's like, you see Jaws popping out of the water. Like, I like the excitement that
Yeah.
trailers bring, and they don't have one, but they do have exclusives, which I like because they
And-
have those Queenies exclusives.
And they have bundles too, so you can pick up older games as well. So if you've missed out on Luxor, or you missed out on other games by this designer or other games by Queen Games, you can buy a bundle and you can get some older games as well, which is kind of cool. But I agree, the campaign itself is not it's not super impressive.
Which
There's
is
not as many
typically-
quotes and playthroughs and stuff that you'd expect.
That's pretty typical for Queen, though, because
It
Copenhagen
is.
was the same way
It
too. There's
is.
just like didn't seem like there was a
Yeah.
lot of information there. They're kind of going off of their brand more than
Yeah.
anything else.
They
Yeah.
know they have a certain diehard fan base, and I
Right.
think they accept that.
There's definitely a lot of good things going for this, but for me, I would have to
Mhm.
I think I would need to play this one
I
first.
love the board too. The board looks really cool. It's like very three-dimensional looking on just a flat.
I'm hearing in the comments lots of people who canceled their Trudvang pledge, which is something that happened. They did go down on that, so that's not surprising. It's hard always backing those $150 games all the time, and we had a
Yeah.
whole bunch of them come up all at once
Yeah.
right around Gen Con. For this particular game here, I'm not a huge fan of deck building games in this aspect. So deck building games for an RPG is different because you're building up a character.
Oh, yeah.
Deck building games, so like Clank is along the lines of like character building sort of.
You
know,
like
with that?
deck builders that are incorporated with another theme, like
Yes.
Tyrants because it has area control, Clank because it has that aspect of racing to the bottom to get the most points and then racing back up.
Right. With this one here, I feel like it may be too
Too straightforward.
too
or-
straightforward
Yeah.
in deck building for me, even with shards, like you get that player interaction around there and it's focused on that, so it's not just
Right.
building your deck.
Yeah.
If it was just building your deck and then like, oh, okay, now I hit you and you're always hitting one person or something like that or one thing, I would not be as excited about that particular game. But I'm nervous that this game is going to fall into that aspect for me where I'm just like, I'm not as excited about it. I'm not as excited about this game, guys. Like, I just don't think this particular one is for me. It looks beautiful, and I agree with DrGloryhogg. I really wish that Queen Games would produce something like a video in the very beginning, especially whenever I do the Dice Tower Kickstarter stuff. I always want to highlight.
You have nothing to show.
Yeah, I always want to highlight the most beautiful aspects of that game
Yeah.
and like kind of give people like a taste of something. And scrolling down a page is not exciting, guys. Like, just like one video, one video would be super cool to show off the game and the pieces and everything a little bit. And yeah, I think I'm just not super excited about it.
Luke L says I'll probably wait for a few years for the big box version. I mean, that's kind of what I was hinting at with Queen Games is you can almost always, if you don't need to be the first, you can always wait and get them really affordable. I remember Glux being at BGG Con for like $45, and that's really simple. I mean, it's just a board and these little cardboard chits and 4 bags. That's like the whole game. And we're like, 45's fine, but like 6 months later, it was like $16 on Amazon. So I can understand people's hesitance to back a Queen game because it's like they're an established company, they don't need my help, and they're going to release this later, and it's going to be cheaper. So
Greg, what final thoughts and would you back that?
I think because of the pedigree, this is the one that I'm the most excited about of the 4.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is going to get repeat plays because it's going to be fast to learn, fast to play, and it looks like because it's Rudiger Dorn, there'll be just enough depth that it's going to be still engaging and interesting while still being like this really fairly fast, streamlined package.
I think you can back that, and then I'll just play it.
Yeah. Okay.
Does the Queenies, like the exclusive Queenie extra Rune Stones, do anything for you to make you want to back this versus getting it in retail?
Well, I do think
Because-
that's something for people to consider because those Queenies are hard to get. Oftentimes, you can only get them at cons and stuff.
Well, and I know they only do them direct, but I know one of the things that Rado said about this particular one is that you always have like the same Rune Stones out. But if you did get this on the Kickstarter level,
Yeah.
you would get additional Rune Stones, so that would kind of add some variability to the overall play.
And it gives you that reason to back instead of waiting. So that's a good point. I'm glad you pointed that out.
DrGloryhogg, would you back this?
No, not at this time. I want to play it first, but it is something that I will keep my eye on and try to get to the table as soon as I possibly can. But it's not something I feel like I got to throw money at it right now.
Right. And for me, it looks great, just not my particular type of game, so I'm not going to be backing this one, guys. Sorry. Like, it looks beautiful, and I like Queen Games. I like a lot of the other stuff that they've done, but it's just one of those aspects that just didn't align for me in this
Yeah.
particular one, okay? Next up, we have Sleeping Gods. Sleeping Gods is by Red Raven Games. This is for 1 to 4 players. This has 10 to 20 hours worth of content. This is not a legacy game, but it is a campaign game where you're going through this campaign, and it is a choose your own adventure style game, which I am most excited about. You get maps, you sail your ships around, and then you have to make choices. But it's not just the choices, you also may have to fight. And then as you're going around, some of these things can come back to you. So, Greg, what did you think about this game?
Well, this is going back to my pedigree kick again. I mean, the Red Raven games are almost always a safe bet. Now, I haven't played all of them, but most of the ones I have played, I always enjoy them, but they're almost never like top tier. It's always like
super exciting.
I'm happy to play these
Okay.
when they come out, when other people bring them out or whatever. But I don't crave them like I do other games. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So because of the price tag, but I mean, it talked about the novel-sized book of story and adventures you can go through. Of course, the art is always off the hook, amazing. A wide variety of types of characters, looking characters too, which I like. It's always very inclusive, his art and stuff, which I think is cool. So this has got a lot going for it. I think I'd want to try it first to see if this is one of those sort of like Haven. I love Haven, but some of the other ones I played, I just enjoy them. They're good, but I'm not like wanting to get back to them over and over again. So I want to see if this one is like the top tier Red Raven or like the next tier Red Raven for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I did think it was cool in the video. Speaking of videos from the last one, that they had like the music and it was all like relatives and stuff.
Yes.
Apparently, like because it was like guitar by this person, lock it. Like it's like a very, even though they're like this established company, you still have to remind yourself that this is still a very small operation that you're supporting when you send money to Red Raven Games.
Dr. Gloryhogg, what did you think about this?
I got 3 things I want to talk about
Okay.
this game. One, I really like how the combat works out, where when you're doing damage to the different monsters, you've got to go up and decide if you want to, do damage here, and then you move up a square or to the left or to the right, and you've got to like kind of plan out how you want to do damage to this different monster, which will give you like either different bonuses or a different way to kill it. You can go like all in, try to kill it as fast as possible, or you can try to like gain bonuses by killing it and do a lot of different things. So I really like that combat aspect of the monster cards. I love the fact that you play with all 9 characters all the time. So if you're playing it 2-player, 4-player, whatever the player counts are, you play with all 9 characters, so that it's really easy to say like, oh, Greg's coming over, you want to play, you can jump in. If you don't want to play, we can play without you. It doesn't have that legacy feel where I'm like, oh, we started this now, we wrote our names down in pencil, I have to play with you or we don't play at all.
Yeah.
Which, like we've discussed, there's a lot of games we have like this.
6 months goes by.
Yes. The third thing is the stretch goals in this, like adding like a magnetic cardboard box that looks like a treasure chest that fits in, that's got kind of like a really cool setup inside the box. I think there's a lot of really nice stretch goals in this game that really add to it that you have to take a look at, and you've got some really cool add-ons and stuff like that. So I think this is a pretty interesting game for me.
Yeah, in the comments we had Vincent saying he'd pass on Rune Stone himself. Totally understand with that one. We have people saying that they're interested in Sleeping Gods, but some people are saying it's a little too long for them. It's not all played in the 10 to 20 hours. It's several different campaigns that you can go through and then stop where you want to stop. I think the big thing for this one, though, is, and this is a really interesting thing, is the fact that it is open world. That means there's nobody telling you where you should go, which for some people, that's actually a problem, which I've found out recently, is that some people are like, well, what am I supposed to do now?
That's the problem you run into with role-playing games. A lot of times people go, cool, you're like, all right, so you enter the dungeon and you see a goblin over here and you see an elf over here and there's a guy over here drinking. What do you want to do? And they go, I don't know. What should I do? And you're like, well, that's the whole point of RPG. Like, you need to come up with something.
I'm going to leave the dungeon. Don't leave the dungeon. Everything's in the dungeon. No, I want to go home and take a nap.
Yeah.
No, stay.
Or, why would my character be in here? Like, why wouldn't they be in here?
I don't know, because
that's a whole side.
You're
That's a whole side thing. I think.
I need motivation.
Right, and that's a big
What's
thing.
my motivation?
That's a real big thing in role-playing games where people say, like, well, why would my character do that? Why would my character do that? And I found that the best way to combat that is say, listen, you're with a group of friends. Why would you not?
No.
If the 3 of us are hanging out and you're like, I want to go to Taco Bell, I'm not going to be like, well, why would my character want to go to Taco Bell? I'm just going to be like, cool, let's go, and I'm going to get some chips.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to find reasons to not go.
But that guy who's always like, why are we doing this? Why would I go in? You just don't invite them next time. Like, come on, roll with it, people. I mean, that's the point of sitting down at the game. You have to accept a certain amount of like buying in.
Well,
Yeah.
and Alan here says that they just sent an email that the ship is going to be painted.
They
So if
did.
you get the little metal ship and everything, it's going to be
Ah.
painted. That's fantastic. So in the open world portion of this game, it's really exciting for me as a person who loves RPGs and loves all the storytelling in the games and everything. Is, you know, you open it up and then you see this beautiful island, you know, group of islands here, and it's like, I can go anywhere and do anything. Like, what does the
Yeah.
art look like? Oh, it looks interesting over here. Let's go check this out. And then you might find out some information. You go, oh, okay. Well, we could continue down this path here. Or maybe, you know what, maybe I don't even like this quest. Like, I don't want to help these people. I'm out. And go someplace else, you
I'm
know?
going to Taco Bell.
Right? Exactly. And
I'll go.
man, I'm trying to think if there's any other game besides like an RPG that I can think of that does it with that
It's that sandboxy.
grandiosity. Yeah, like I mean, there's nothing I can think of off the top of my head where you can just it's like playing a video game open
Right.
world except you're playing it on a board game at this point, you know? And I also like the fact that the combat system with that, and I kind of scrolled down to some of the cards. I don't know if I'm going to be able to reach them, but you have to choose where you're going to go on this monster card here in the middle, and some of those squares are healing squares for them and stuff like that. So it's not straight on just combat. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're not going to go like, oh, I just do 3 damage to it, I kill it. You got to
Right.
decide the path you want to take on the card to kill the monster if you're
Right.
fighting it. You might make a bargain with the monster, or you might decide to run away, or you might decide to have the monster join your party. It seems like there's a lot of different options in there. At least
Right.
Can I ask
3.
the monster out for a date?
You could, I mean, if you're a bard, you could date anything. That's the general consensus in all role-playing games.
Oh, there we go. Luke says, yeah, Seventh Continent has a similar
Yeah.
open world. Yeah, there you go. There we go. There's a good comparison.
I think
for
it
it.
said too. There's like 400 cards or something. I mean, it's a lot. You're getting a lot. It feels like here. That big booklet, 20 hours of play, 400 cards.
You can't just kill the goblin. It could be like a lawful good goblin. You don't know, man. Like you can't just go
So
and
bloodthirsty,
you can't
Michael.
kill-
Greg would be the bard.
I don't know. Would you be the bard?
No, I wouldn't be the
I don't
bard.
think so. I'm always told that I'm like a weird mixture of like a barbarian and a bard because like I always want to take
Barbarian and a bard.
because I always want to take action, but then there's also whenever there's not action, I'm like singing and doing stuff and like when I was playing in my brother's campaign,
You're
I
a
had the
cheerful
laptop up.
murderer.
Oh, I had the laptop up and I was playing songs, so they were like, "This is it," and I'm like, "The final countdown." And then my brother's like, all right, here's the deal. We're either going to hook this up to the Alexa so everybody can hear the music you're playing, or you've got to
Oh.
stop. So we hooked it up to the Alexa.
Yeah, of course.
barbarian
of
bard. I
course,
like it. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, no, this
Barbarian.
Barbarian.
this for me, and I like the fact that you're playing with all 9 characters, and that just to me says, oh my god, all of these characters have built-in stories in this game. Like, I need to know all of this. So, yeah, I'm really excited about this game. Greg, what are your final thoughts, and would you back this?
Like I said, I think it's a try before you buy, and I know I'll get the chance to because Red Raven's established enough. Because like other people in the comment have mentioned, we've started a lot of campaigns. We don't always finish them, so I'd want to try this and see. But I'm guessing I'm going to love this. So that's where I'm at with this one.
Dr. Gloryhogg?
So final thoughts on this one. I feel like this game is very much going to appeal to different people. So I'm going to compare this to Adventure Tactics because they're in similar veins, definitely completely different games. When you play a game like Dragon Age, some people will go through every single companion side quest. That's her. And she goes through and she wants to hear every piece of story.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a fast reader, so I typically want to read and go like, okay, this is what they want to do, make the choice, and then go out into the world and explore. So I like to explore, fight, level up, discover secrets. She likes a lot of that also, but she also does every single talking side quest. And if it's a side quest where I'm just going to be talking to characters, I'll skip them sometimes to go and fight more.
There
Like
could be
I'd
key
rather grind and
information
fight.
in that.
There
I
could
know,
be.
right? I want to hear about the love story and what happened with the kobolds in the mine, okay?
To be fair, though, like to a certain degree, I care more about my character than like my companions. They're just there to support me, right?
Wow.
I am the main character.
Narcissist.
Yeah, a little bit. But I am the main character. So like they're just different styles of games for different people. So for me, I lean more towards the tactics side where I want to get in there, make a character, play, fight, do all this crazy cool stuff, and then like make new characters. Where I think you would probably enjoy maybe the narrative aspect of this one more.
Right, absolutely.
You're the barbarian, the skipper.
Well,
Yeah.
see, here's the thing. I always read it, but she makes fun because, like, when I'll play something again, like, I'll be playing, like, say, like God of War for the second time or something with, like, with a new strategy, or Skyrim the second time, I skip everything because I'm like, I already read it once. I don't want to read it again
Yeah,
because
that
I already
makes
have the
sense.
gist of what's happening. So then, like, the second time I play, like, I play usually Warrior the first time. Second time I come back as a Ranger or a Thief or some kind of, like, more specialty class. And then I'm like, skip
What if they
through
say
all that stuff.
But what if they say something different to you because you're a different class? Then you just miss that.
This
I
time you're
don't care.
supposed to, this time instead of killing the goblin, you're supposed to rescue it. Whatever. Skip.
Honestly, the second time through, I don't care. I'll read the story the first time, but after I've heard the story, I don't care. I just want to get into the cool combat aspects of the game
Yeah.
with a different type of character.
Yeah, but would you back that?
No, I would do tactics
Tactics,
instead.
okay.
I feel like I lean more that way.
All right,
Okay.
guys. So this one here, I love the fact that it is open world and choose your own adventure. Like, gosh, like, I cannot tell you how excited I am about that. And we're actually going to go, well, I guess I'll just compare now. Between the two, tactics and this one, if I have the money for either of them, I would go with this one. I would go with Sleeping Gods because I love the story aspect so much more to
Arm
that.
wrestle.
Well, and you've got the
You don't want to embarrass yourself in the stream, okay, on the live stream.
she's gonna smash the glass. How hard she pushes your arm down.
Bam!
Well, I also think there's the pedigree. Like, let me just get back on that soapbox, right? Like, you're picking between these two. Red Raven's been around a while. They have a proven track record of, like, high-quality stuff. So, I mean, if you're trying to choose between the two.
But this Adventure Tactics reminds me of a lot of those tactic games from, like, the Game Boy days when it was, like, Final Fantasy Tactics and Chrono Trigger.
Well, like I said,
think was
all
the other
four
one.
are good this week. I mean, you're really splitting hairs trying to decide, I feel like.
It's just a matter of, like, where you want to spend your $70, basically. Would
Yeah.
you rather more narrative or more combat and character building? Character building is, like, my favorite part, so that the fact that you can kind of, like, upgrade and change your
Right.
character, like, that's what I'm most
I
excited
assume
about.
the story will have character development. Like you said, you're playing with all 9, so I assume they'll kind of flesh out the stories of the characters as they go.
Yeah, but they
it
don't-
will be the story fleshing them out, not you making
Exactly,
choices.
and that's the
And
difference.
that's the distinction. Yeah,
I
that
like
makes
making
sense.
niche characters. I used to
Yeah.
play all the weird niche characters in World of Warcraft where I was like, oh, I'm going to play, like, you know, the dual-wielding shaman that's dropping totems like crazy. And everyone's like, well, no, you should be healing. You're a shaman. I'm like, nah, I'm going to be DPS. I found a way to make I made every single character
Everything DPS.
Doesn't matter
Damage
what it
per
is.
second.
Yeah.
Everything
You're the
became-
bard. You're smashing people over the
everything
head with a
became
guitar.
an attack, right.
I think this week there were a lot of close games with that sort of stuff, and trying to pick between them is going to be hard for everybody. So it's interesting
What did
seeing
I
in the
do?
comments and going through what.
I'm laughing at my own joke where I'm thinking about myself where I'm like, bard in the streets, barbarian in the sheets.
Wow.
Sorry, I just...
TMI. TMI.
Wow.
Oh, man. Woo, too good.
So, okay,
That's what she said.
out of all these, let's do our favorites. Greg, favorite?
I think the safest bet and the best bang for your buck is going to be that queen game.
Okay.
Yeah.
DrGloryhogg?
Adventure Tactics. I really want to get those characters going for sure.
Sleeping Gods, guys. Sleeping Gods this week.
Oh, no.
That's usually how it ends up working.
And we already have on the rocks, so we have all 4 basically
there we
by the
go,
time the
there we
show's
go,
over.
there we
So
go.
we helped no one. Back it all, people.
Right, right. I also love how my comments are kind of like I'm talking
Oh yeah.
out of there. All
Me
right.
too. That's how sharks talk.
So if you like this show, make sure to support us on Ko-Fi because we just purchased a whole bunch of equipment because all of our equipment had shenanigans going on and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's always helpful for
They
us.
they
in our
remember
show.
the sound issues.
Yeah,
from
sound
prior
issues
weeks.
last week. I'm glad that we got all of it taken care of. We got our videos stuff going. We got our lighting up. Like, got all sorts of stuff going on.
Oof.
We also ring the bell and like and subscribe to our content if you want to hear more. We're going to be doing more playthroughs. We're going to be doing app-based play. We're going to be talking about Kickstarters still. What else?
This Sunday, we are going to play Ishtar from Gen Con. We just haven't decided a time yet because I have to go
Yeah.
pick up some pig orc Blood Bowl miniatures that I had painted. So this is my life.
I was wondering how that sentence was going to end.
Yeah, well, and then, yeah, but that's it. So we've got some exciting stuff. We're going to do a Sunday game. We're just deciding when. And we're trying to do our best to get to as many conventions as possible. I'm going to go to PAX West with Skybound at the end of the month.
Oh, that's right.
So I'll try to get as much coverage from there as I can. I will be working a booth, so I'm going to be probably pretty tired, and I'm bringing my Magic cards with me. So I don't know how much free time I'm going to have because Magic is life. Hashtag MTG. But
And-
yeah, I'll be there, and Greg will be.
Actually, I just did
You're
think
going
of
on,
something.
You're going on a vacation.
I'm
here
going to
soon
be at
too,
the
right?
Dice Tower Retreat, which I think there's
Oh,
still a
that's
few
right.
tickets left.
Okay.
And if you haven't heard of the Dice Tower Retreat, it's not this exclusive Dice Tower staff only thing, because that's
Right.
what it sounds like,
Right,
right?
because we
It
did not
does.
get our invite to that.
It sounds like a business retreat or something. It's not. It's just a very intimate con. Yeah, look, Gilbert Eric will be there. It's the best ratio of games to players, attendees of any con you're ever going to go to. Literally like 600 games, probably all like pimped out versions that are like upgraded with expansions and all this kind of stuff, and like 200 people there. Maybe not even 200. There's like a game exchange. You're going to come with one and leave with like 3. So anyway, if you're in the Florida area or you think you can make it there, I'll be there. And a bunch of the Dice Tower folk will be there. So that's a cool event.
It looks like our chat
Yeah, I'm
just
noticing.
reloaded like just in time for the end of the show.
I wanted to
so.
point out Aussie Solo Gamer.
I know,
think
right?
it was.
I
Who's
was gonna-
watching us 5 a.m. in the morning.
Think about that. If you could
I was
wake
going
up,
to talk about that.
if you could wake up to these 3 mugs, wouldn't you? Look
Aw.
at this, guys.
Oh, the Breakfast of Champions.
Who wouldn't want to wake up to this? This would just fuel my day. If
We're
you
like
know
a
what I'm saying.
big, robust bowl of Wheaties, you know?
There
Like
you go.
ripping open
Get
up.
that day started.
Well, because we're all different things. You're the bacon, she's the eggs, and I'm the Monster Energy drink. Like, you just everybody serves their part.
All right.
I'm
and
the
then
bacon. I'm stringy and greasy.
we want to know what you guys backed in the comments, or if we missed anything. We're going to be talking about other stuff next week, but if there's something you want to bring to our attention, leave it in the comments and tell us what you guys ended up backing this week, because we are always interested to know in what you guys think.
For real, because
And-
there's a couple of you that I'm going to try to visit, because I know you straight up back
Oh,
games
that's
I want
right.
to play.
That's right. I
Seriously.
know, right? When we come around, that's part of the country. We'll be like, yeah, we're going to play these games we
Yeah.
didn't back that you did.
Who lives in Seattle that's going to be at PAX West? Who wants to bring games to play?
Right? All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching us. We will see you guys all next week.
Bye.